I really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you all.
You know, it's funny, I'd given this, I told this story and I was going to tell it again, but then I realized that half of the convention had already heard it before. So I wanted to tell you a piece of advice that was, you may have caught it on Nightline. It was a dying father gave to his daughter, and his daughter was really little. And he's like, man, what, if I could tell her one thing, what is it that I tell her? And he goes, you know what? And he good dad, I'm going to give her advice about boys. And the one thing that he told her is, he said, when a boy seems like he's interested in you, quit listening to what they say and start listening to what they do. And you say, well, what in the world does that have to do with the governor's race? Well, there are a lot of people saying a lot of things. But our candidates for governor have been involved and invited to a number of forums and a number of debates. And some of them, all of them have shown up at many of them, but some of them have been visibly absent in a few. First was the NAACP forum a couple of months ago. And this is what sealed the deal for me with Justice Orr. Does anybody know how many GOP candidates showed up at the NAACP forum, even though all of them who are on the ballot now have been invited? One. Bob Orr. Sometimes you can understand why, that there's a little bit of friction there, but Duke University recently had held an issues forum on water management. Kind of a big deal right now. How many GOP candidates showed up to that forum? One. On a very important issue that affects all of us, and one that any local official will tell you is going to need some state involvement sooner or later. Now, our candidates for governor make a lot of promises, and they can tell you they can do a lot of things. But and I'll tell you, and I want to be very clear about this, come May or when after the runoff, I'll have absolutely no problem voting for any one of them in November. But we are facing opponents that are, either one of them will be a strong opponent. Can anybody tell me how many of our candidates have won a statewide race? One. That was Justice Bob Orr. Now what's really interesting is he didn't win a layup race. I thought it was really interesting that Shannon was here talking about Judge Tyson's campaign. The rules for electing a judge in this state are so bizarre. And you got to wonder why. Well, you don't have to go that far back to find out why. See, up until the late 1980s, this is how a judge got elected in North Carolina. He had a D next to his name. That's how it happened for the entire 20th century. That was until Justice Bob Orr ran for the Court of Appeals. And he was the first one to be elected in the 20th century. He and Justice Lake were also the first ones to be elected to the state Supreme Court. This was not that long ago. That election was in 1992. After that, we started winning election after election after election. Now, wouldn't it be great if we turned our TVs off, we studied some of the issues, we looked and we found out that there is a candidate that actually does have an economic development plan that extends to the time when my kids, who are in diapers now, will be in college. We need a candidate that can change the rules. Again, I will have no problem voting for any one of our candidates, and they are all accomplished men. And I'm sure that they will be able to add a bullet item to their resume by winning in May. But ladies and gentlemen, wouldn't it be nice to back a person who has a resume to win in November? Thank you.